Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Jakarta, Indonesia. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the care and propagation of the Dioscorea Discolor. This is one of the prettiest plants I believe in my collection. It's very rare, difficult to come by here. Someone posted it up on sale and then I just went ahead and grabbed it. It was very, very expensive. And you know, I haven't seen it since then. I haven't seen it in any of the nursery tours. But basically, the Dioscorea hails from Brazil and I believe parts of Ecuador. And this is actually in the yam family. And don't quote me on that, but some people did say that the yams, the tubers from this plant, is actually edible. Although I would say don't try it, don't eat it, just to be safe. But yeah, they're in the same family as yams. A really beautiful vining growth pattern. This is why I give it a little trellis here. And it's got really nice, beautiful purple stem in the new growth here. Although the older stem is green in color. The leaves, oh my goodness. There's so much gradation of color on the leaves. The veins are beautiful. They look like they're watercolored with dark greens, light greens, purples and reds. Very, very beautifully designed plant. And for them to get a more red color leaves with more contrast, give them in full sun, stick them in full sun. Because before I was being safe, I grew them in bright indirect light and they grew more of these green and boring leaves. But they are so much faster growing and they give out these beautiful vibrant colors when grown in full sun. So I guess we're going to talk right into the care. Give this plant direct sunlight or full sun. I do water this every day. It is quite a thirsty plant, although I do give it my very airy general purpose potting mix with cocoa peat, perlite, burnt rice hull, worm casting. I'm going to include the video up on the screen so you can see what it's made out of. So they don't want to hold on for too much moisture, but then they will dry out pretty fast. On hot days like today, when it's super full sun, the sky is clear, I definitely need to give this a deep watering once a day. I have propagated this plant once before. I tried sphagnum forest floor potting mix and I tried water propagation, and the water propagation is successful 100%. And the others, I think one in moss survived, but that was taken from a cutting that wasn't so healthy. It was a much younger plant at the time, and this plant is so much bigger now. So I'm going to be propagating this, using different methods again. And in terms of fertilizing, this plant actually, I imagine it's a pretty heavy feeder, especially if it's a yam family. It does need to put out a lot of energy to develop the edible tubers and also all these fast growing leaves. Usually plants that are grown in full sun tend to be a little bit more heavy feeder. So I would actually give this a little bit more fertilizing than I would normally. Surprisingly, I was expecting a lot of pests on these guys, but I haven't seen any, and that's probably because I actually do spray this down very often with neem and all because it's such an expensive plant. I also do a little bit of carbofuran, which is a very controversial pesticide that I don't advocate for, but I do use that here. So maybe this being a very good preventative measure. If you don't give it a trellis, it will grab onto other plants. So be sure to give it a trellis. I have a feeling that this trellis is even too small for it. And again, this is a very fast growing plant, and you'll see soon in my propagation portion that this is a very easy plant to propagate. Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start taking cuttings. The top cutting here is a little bit tricky because the leaves are so young. Let me get closer. It's such a cute little baby leaf. Oh my gosh. So, but I do need to take it off because, it just must come off the top, basically. And I'm gonna actually stick this in water for the top cutting. Hopefully it'll develop into bigger leaves. And this is still premature. This is just how fast growing they are. These leaves are still very immature, very young, but then more vine has appeared even before the previous leaf has hardened. So let me take a good cutting. This is actually a very good cutting. And let me walk with you the anatomy. The roots are gonna appear somewhere in the bottom here of the cutting. And then new growth here will show. I don't know if you can see, it's actually put out a growing eye already in the corner. So that's where the new shoot will come from. And how I want to do this is, so I have prepared 2 sphagnum moss here, 2 pots of sphagnum moss, and 2 pots of general purpose potting mix. I'm going to try both methods. And then here, I'm just going to stick that right in, like have it be in there. Nice and gentle, that's it. Pretty much. And I'm just going to keep this kind of like a little bit moist but not overwatered. I don't want it to be too soggy wet. And because the parent plant used to be growing in full sun, I don't want this to be in full sun because it will crisp up the leaves. So this is getting medium to bright indirect light until it's put out new vines. That's when I would slowly introduce it to full sun. So I'm gonna put 2 in each of these, sphagnum and this, and then the rest are going in water. So, because I know that water works really well. So here's a wonderful example of a cutting. As you can see, this is the leaf, that's the node, and this vine has actually appeared from that node. So what I need to do is I need to root this. This is probably best in water, so that roots will form down here, and some roots may actually form down here too, but on the bottom of the node. And sometimes if you don't want to cut them up, you can actually just tuck some of the hanging vines, just stick it back into the soil and pin it down. It will root into it or in the next pot over, so that you can actually kind of air layer it that way. Okay, so I'm done. Here are some of the ones that are potted up. I need to give this a good drink as soon as I turn off the camera. These are all the cuttings. It's going to be rooting in water. For maximizing the success rate of water propagation, I'm going to link a video up above. I have a video to show you how I can increase the chances. I want to give this bright indirect light and shallow amount of water, and I want to share the same vessel for many. I want to stick many cuttings in as many bottles as possible so they can share the rooting hormone. With the natural rooting hormone that they actually put out. Not that I add rooting hormone, which I don't do. But here are some of the, here's the parent plant, and I did take quite a lot of it. So I'm gonna put it back to where it was, and it's quite happy there. And I guess I'll see you guys in a few months. Welcome to a 5 weeks update. So these guys are actually doing the best. It's indoors. It's getting a little bit of deficiency, a little bit of direct sunlight. This is coming from the morning. This one's in moss and it's put out a baby already. Look at these baby leaves. The ones that are grown outdoors somehow isn't doing as well, but we'll see later. I'm so bad with spoilers, I should leave the good parts for later. But yeah, this is also put out a little vine here. This is putting out a little vine. I have the same exact setup outside, one in moss and one in general purpose potting mix. I think the one in moss seems to do a little bit better. Yeah, but I have the same set outside, so we can compare that soon. And in this corner office back here, it's got like 2 sides. So it gets east and northern exposure. Look at that. It looks like everyone's doing well because I didn't take any cuttings off this. I didn't take any dead leaves, and vines are already showing up. But I do have to pot these up today because if not, they will not do well if you don't transition them soon to the potting mix. And there are more here. Okay. This one's a little bit dried up in the new leaf. But let me see. I only see one set of roots. I see 2 cuttings there, but I think one of the cuttings did not make it. Maybe they do like to be grouped like this. And I have one more. So this is getting excellent light. This one's not doing so hot either, but look at the baby in the water. So only one of the cuttings survived in here, and this one leaf isn't doing so well. I don't know what's the difference. The only difference is the size of the vessel, and also the fact that this one has so many cuttings in them. It's got like 6 or 7 cuttings. So possibly because plants do like to be propagated together. Watch my water propagation video. I'm going to link that up above, where I'll give you tips on how to increase success of your water propagation. And one of them, it would be to group your cuttings. And here are the ones grown outdoors. It actually gets very, very good light. Look at how red this new leaf is. It gets dappled direct sunlight. This one's putting out a new vine, which is great. But this one did lose a leaf. Let me see, is that a vine? This thing. I think it is a vine. Maybe it lost a leaf, but then the vine is still very much alive. Yeah. And this one, it lost 1 leaf because I remember I had 2 in both, and this one's completely gone. So only one of the leaves survived. But this method, I don't really have to repot or anything, and this will take off really fast because the roots are already adapted to the potting mix. But if you ask me, based on my experience, this plant maybe does a little bit better in water, and the second in moss, and then third in soil. But you can actually do them different ways. Look at how pretty this is. This is a very, very underrated plant. And these are in water propagation. There's many, many cuttings here. Look at all them roots. Everyone seems to be doing well. Again, for this one, I don't remember taking off any dead leaves from here. So I think everybody kind of survived. They made it. And this one's doing all right as well. Yeah, very well. So I'm gonna be potting these up. Alright, so here are the cuttings. About 2 weeks later, they really acclimatized really well into the soil. I didn't lose any of them, they're doing really well. The ones upstairs are putting out even more leaves than this. I'm not really gonna show you because I wanna keep this video short, but everybody's doing fine except this one. This is a little bit problematic, maybe. I just noticed this. But hopefully something will grow out of it. But I have about 90% success with these. This is surprisingly an easy plant to propagate. I'm sorry, look at this baby leaf right here. It's actually a little bit dark now. We lost a lot of light because it's the rainy season. But let me quickly show you the parent plant again to see if anything has grown out of it. It's definitely not declined since the last time we saw it, but it did not really push out any new vines. I see this thing here actually. It may push out some new leaves later. So let's see. I'm not that worried though. I have so many baby plants coming out that I'm not worried. I don't know if this is, I still can't troubleshoot this. I don't know what this is. This could be over fertilizing, could be fertilizer burn. I know that I did add a little bit of worm casting, thinking that it needs a lot of nutrients. This is actually a new vine, this right here. But it wasn't growing as robust as before. Yeah, look at that. That looks like a burn mark. And I know that this can take direct sunlight, a full sun. So it could be, I guess it could be fertilizer burn. I may have gone a little bit over the top. And it's also possible that because I cut like, I don't know, more than half of the foliage off suddenly, it just suddenly have a lot of nutrients that is not going anywhere. So it is burning the leaves. But this should recover. I'm just gonna give it time. So yeah, I guess that's final update, I guess. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm at Botanist on Instagram if you want to DM me on any questions regarding plant care and propagations. I'll try my best to get back to you. Meanwhile, do take care and stay safe. I will see you in the next video. Bye.